Right now, rolling blackouts continue at the moment at stage 4 indefinitely. And with school set to start with exams soon, how are teachers, for instance, making sure that these power cuts don't impact negatively on pupils? Let's bring in Nomusa Cembi. She is the spokesperson of Sadtu. Thank you so much for your time here on ENCA, and good afternoon to you. What are the teachers' sentiments? You know, when Sadtu speaks to teachers, what are your members' sentiments around power cuts and the disturbance of learning because of power cuts?
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers. Yes, power cuts are really frustrating to most of the to the teachers, and in some instances they try their best to do with what they have. In some municipalities they do send the times and dates as to when the power cuts would be, and then the teachers would try their best to have classes according to those times that are provided. But at times you find that in a day the power will go out 3 times, and then there'll be about 2 hours for the school to function. It can be very frustrating. But there are schools that have some that may have enough light to work with the light that they have. But some schools are now advancing, especially here in Gauteng. They have electronic boards, and you find that they do need to use electricity to work on those boards. It is very frustrating, but teachers have had to come up with innovative ways. Look at coming in early, look at doing things perhaps later in order to come to accommodate for the time lost.
And I can imagine, Sis Nomusa, how it feels to teachers because, of course, you know, at the end of the year, especially with matric results, etc., you are judged per school in terms of your pass rate. Sometimes even internally at a school, they'll look at a particular teacher to say your pupils didn't do this well this year because of this subject and the other. So I'm sure that also is frustrating for them to be able to prove that they are worthy of teaching and teaching pupils.
Yes, it is very frustrating because at the end of the day, everyone in South Africa look at the marks and does not look at the circumstances that learners were working under. We know very well that schools that tend to do well are those in suburban areas that have most of the resources, and schools in the townships and rural areas tend to do poorly because half of the time it is the infrastructure that is there that is affecting their performance, and the issue lack of electricity as well as water does affect the performance of a learner. But another frustrating factor is at home. Learners do a lot of homework at home, and it is very frustrating, especially now that they're preparing for exams, that they can sit for the whole night or half of the night not having electricity, when we know that at this time of the year, especially for those who are writing matrics, everybody is busy studying and they cannot study at home. It is very frustrating.
And I can imagine how worse it is in rural areas and even in some areas like Soweto, where the power goes out and it doesn't come back for several hours, sometimes even 16 to 24 hours. City Power has admitted in some areas it fails to bring the power back, particularly here in Johannesburg. So what do we do then in terms of this? And before you tell me what we do and what you think the solution might be, if you have any, is there a concern about absenteeism? Maybe pupils just deciding, look, I don't have electricity, I can't take a shower or a bath right now, I can't go to school. Maybe girls who are, for instance, on their period, deciding that I won't go to school because there's no power. It means I cannot, make sure that I'm clean, etc. And then they just opt to stay at home. Is that also a concern?
Yes, there is a concern. We have seen instances of absenteeism rising and even late coming. You find that learners would arrive late because the transport that they are traveling into school, they due to load shedding, the traffic lights are not working. and that causes a delay, and then you find that the learners would, as well as the teachers, would arrive late. So it has affected absenteeism. It has also caused a late coming, and that really does affect the functioning of a normal day in school.
Well, it looks like load shedding is going to be here with us to stay, right? I mean, Eskom announcing for, I think, the second time in a row now that they are announcing stage 4 blackouts indefinitely, and they'll let us know in due course if this changes. It's been about 3 weeks or so that we've been living under stage 6, 5, 4 and 3 load shedding in South Africa. So it's here to stay, it looks. And so I just want to know from you what the solution might be, if you have any. I mean, imagine if matric pupils are writing their exams in November and suddenly the lights go out.
Yes, we can see that it is indeed here to stay, but some plans are being made. You find that in some instances they'll have, they did during COVID-19, you found that the centers where they would write exams, and they would ensure that the electricity is provided in those places. We urge that to happen, but even with those things in place, it doesn't cover everyone. I remember last year when they started with normally they start with computer studies, and you definitely need electricity there if you are doing IT, and some could not write. Or others even wrote later because of electricity problems. We hope the department has been well aware of this, and the department should have engaged with Eskom to look at those things and to look at even on those subjects like IT or technical subjects that really need electricity, to ensure that we have electricity during those times.
It's quite a difficult and tricky one, Sis Nomusa, for the department. I did speak to them last week, and they say that they've been trying to speak to Eskom, along with the health department, I might add. They've been trying to speak to Eskom to try and exempt schools and hospitals from the load shedding schedule. But unfortunately, these facilities are inside a community and share the same substation, etc., to the rest of the homes around there. So it's going to be quite a difficult one for them to be exempt, but hopefully a solution is found. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on ENCA. That was Nomusa Cembi. She is the spokesperson for Sadtu.